Hola, bonjour, ni hao, hola. That's Portuguese. The one before it was Chinese.
Yeah.
I'm Portuguese. My name is Pedro. You're?
I'm Canadian. But background is Chinese. Yes. Yes.
I was born here as well.
Yeah.
They should send me
Portuguese Canadian, and I'm Chinese Canadian, or a Canadian of a Chinese descent. That's enough of intro.
Maybe I should focus on similarities more than differences, eh?
Exactly.
Let that be a lesson to us all, especially
Yeah.
me. All right, so I'm here. I'm an IT recruiter. Will is a solutions architect who started his own technology company, and naturally, I have a question and he'll have an answer for me. So
Something like that, yeah.
So, Will, when I first heard about DevOps, I remember it was like
Right.
2 years ago for a role that I was working on,
Yeah.
and it was sort of presented to me as like this new thing where these guys are like, why is the salary so high? Well, because these guys are doing the job of like 5 system administrators. Now,
Yeah.
I don't know it well enough to know the value of that statement, but what do you think about something like that? One good DevOps person can do what 4 or 5 sysadmin people do.
Well, I think there's certain merit to what that value proposition is, how correct that value proposition is. For instance, DevOps really focuses on the automation aspect of things. So a really good DevOps engineer can always think about what are the ways to automate certain tasks, right? So like a system admin may need to do something that's very manual, and they may not be very comfortable with automating things, whereas a DevOps engineer could, leveraging some of the existing emerging technology in cloud computing. And by doing that, they can automate something and what's quicker than a person, right? Machines.
Yeah.
Right? So they have machines doing those work for them, and hence can replace essentially a task that can be performed by 5 system admins can do. But there's also the untrue aspect of it, because there are certain tasks is really difficult to automate or almost impossible to automate.
True.
Right?
Yeah.
So when that happens, you have to have that person doing that task anyway.
Yeah.
And that's when like a DevOps engineer essentially just behave as a system
Admin.
Yeah.
Is there like a future where all tasks are automated that you would expect a system administrator engineer to do? Like, is that forthcoming, or
Yeah,
that's not really possible?
it could happen. You never know. It's just like, is there a singularity point for true artificial intelligence? So I think there is a possibility that in the far future there will be this type of mechanism. But I do think in the near term, 5 to 10 years,
Yeah.
the DevOps will always be in high demand, because we're in the transitioning from legacy system to onboarding some of the newer practice, like for instance containerization, microservices, to like serverless framework, right? All of that requires a decent amount of understanding of system level infrastructure, and when it comes down to maintaining or doing feature release, you almost always have different ways or method to do it. So
Right.
there's different standards, different practice, and in order to like kind of push towards that fully automation direction, you need people to do that, right? So that's why I think until we reach that point, there will always be a really high demand for DevOps engineers.
When it comes to one particular tool that I've just been needing to recruit people for a lot, like in a nutshell, what does Jenkins do? I've just been hearing about it a lot.
Yeah, so Jenkins is a cloud agnostic CI/CD tool.
Okay.
So that's a lot of jargons here. First of all, why is it cloud agnostic? There are a lot of CI/CD tools that's cloud native. For instance, Microsoft has its own CI/CD pipelines.
Is that like for the Azure platform or whatever?
Yeah.
Okay, gotcha.
Google Cloud, GCP has its own pipelines, and AWS has code pipelines. All of them can almost do exactly the same thing that Jenkins can do, which is like build particular artifact, run some certain test,
Yeah.
and then deliver that artifact to the different environment, whether it's like parallel or stable environment or production environment, right? Almost everything can be done in a cloud native fashion. But Jenkins is this one tool that is commonly practiced within the industry that can be essentially onboarded onto every cloud platform. As long as you know Jenkins, it doesn't matter what cloud platform you use. You can easily lift and shift that onto different cloud platforms.
Now, this might just sort of be like the weird, always looking for a conspiracy theory side of me,
Right.
but like, wouldn't maybe like Microsoft, Amazon, and Google decide to like block Jenkins from being used to force people to use like their own?
I think that's what made Amazon and Google and Microsoft successful is that they are always adopting like open source, like they want to get on the good side of developers, you know,
Sure.
recruit good on engineers. If the day when they do that, that's when they lose their popularity
Yeah.
from the development side. And you don't believe me, that's the worst thing they can do is to lose that, you know, the image of being like, you know,
Democratic,
open. Yeah.
open.
Yeah, open. And
Because if there's anybody who loves that sort of stuff, it's like it's people who can hack the mainframe. you know?
Exactly. So I don't think that will ever happen. As a matter of fact, I think quite the opposite. Microsoft
Yeah,
and Google
open source
and Amazon will probably try to release features to work alongside with Jenkins or aid Jenkins or help them adopt Jenkins onto their cloud platform.
Cool.
Right.
Yeah, that makes sense to me.
Yeah.
All right, everyone. We got a pizza on the way, so we're gonna go see the delivery guy. Cheers.
Ciao.
Yeah.
Bye.
Ciao, brother.
Yeah. 再见。
谢谢。
Yeah.